Hey, Broken Tea Society, we're back here at Trinity Forest with Cameron McCormick, and we're going to be talking about flighting the golf ball. Folks who are in the index experiment talked about wanting to control their trajectory a little bit. So we hear people talk about flighting the ball, flighting it down, I guess we used to call it knocking the ball down, right?
Stingers, knockdown,
yeah, stingers, knockdown, all
trap,
that good stuff. It's certainly a shot that I've probably accidentally developed from my time in Scotland and Ireland, but I don't really know what I'm doing when I do it. So
it just comes out.
Right, it's like, okay, I have to keep this one up. So to be able to do it on demand, or what actually goes into, and appropriate being here in Texas, you have to have this shot. So talk to me about flighting the ball down.
I mean, there are a couple options that come to mind. The path of least resistance is clearly deferring down. And what I mean by that is taking the next club down, or even the next club down, to keep it underneath the wind. That path of least resistance guarantees that no matter the mechanics of how you return the club back to impact, you're going to achieve a lower launch angle than if, let's say, you were hitting the club in your hand, which is a 7-iron. So stock 7-iron might travel how far for you?
160.
Okay, so 167 iron. We go down to a 6-iron. And we deliver less loft because of the loft of the club, but then there's the danger of what? It traveling too far. Or if we go 2 clubs down and go to 5-iron, then we're 2 clubs long. So we have to make a modification then in swing length to deliver less force to the ball to make it go the distance that's required. Having said that, most of the time when you're deferring down, it's an into the wind situation. So your 6-iron then would go that 160, or possibly even the 7-iron might go that 160. The rule of thumb to use is every 10 miles an hour of wind into that you feel, you need to factor in 10 to 12 yards of less distance on any given club. So it could be a 5-iron for a 20 mile an hour wind. How to gauge that wind is if your pant legs are moving in the wind, you've probably got 5 to 7 touching you. If they're really moving around very, very fast, or another reference is if the flag is straight, if the flag's not limp, if the flag's straight out, it's 5 to 7, and then you kind of gauge it based on that. A tool that I carry everywhere I go, it's in my golf bag right now, it's an anemometer. I'm a golf nerd, and so I try and cancel out or understand the effect of things. So I know how much wind I feel for how much wind is actually there. Another simple tool to use is clearly the weather app. It's going to tell you what that wind forecast is, so then you can gauge the number of yards for a given type of shot. But there are other options. In golf, there are always options, how to flight it down low. I'm going to work you through a concept called delivered loft or dynamic loft. So I'm going to switch positions with you. I'm going to borrow your 7-iron, and I'm going to use a couple of tools here. So what is dynamic loft? Tool number 1, magnetic on the club face. It's a face angle tool. Statically, this 7-iron has probably 34, 35 degrees of loft on it. Statically means is that club's perpendicular to the ground, that angle relative to the ground that this stick presents is that 34-ish degrees. But at impact, in order to hit it low, we need to make that club look like it's some amount less than 34. The more we take away, the more we make this club look like it's, let's say, a 5-iron or 4-iron at impact. That's how to cause the same club to fly even lower. So my launch angle with a 7-iron is probably about 21 degrees, 22 degrees. I can make this thing launch at 10 degrees if I need to, just by delivering where the handle wins the race. So that feeling, the feeling that I use here, that we're going to use here in just a second, is before I reach impact, my handle is outside my left leg. Now the reality is it's probably never there, but it goes close to being in the middle of my left leg. So I amplify the feeling to create more effect. And I get, albeit healed, a really low launch trajectory when I create that sensation. Now, there are other options again. Bring in the hula hoop, add back in my face angle tool. And what we have is in fact, let me set something else up here. We have the effect of ball position on launch angle as well. So as I'm taking you through these options, know that just like the old stereo that you may see from time to time, there are knobs and levers to turn. One controls volume, one controls tuning. Another might control the balance, more volume in the right speaker versus the left speaker. Golf is just the same way. My normal stance for a 7-iron ball position, I should say, is roughly right between the zipper of my shirt and the logo of my shirt. That would cause me to hit the golf ball at this point in the arc. The middle pencil, which is traveling down some 3 to 4 degrees, that's known as attack angle. But what if I just adjusted my stance? I pull my swing with it, that swing arc moves relative to where that ball is positioned, and now I'm hitting it on a greater or a more negative angle of attack. That angle of attack is going to help me launch it lower. So I have the effect of ball position to catch the strike, catch the golf ball, impact, make impact earlier in the downswing, more negative angle of attack, and that alone, without any effort right here, is going to give me some lower launch effect. That's a launch angle with a 7-iron. It's probably 13 degrees, so not quite the 10 that I would be able to achieve if I added the handle effect. Net, we have options. Come on in.
Wow.
So, as I'm trying to teach this, provide a person something, I would follow the developmental pathway of club first, ball position second, delivered loft or dynamic loft third.
Okay.
That's generally the easiest to more difficult or most difficult in terms of the solution. So let's do this. Let's hit a shot, normal 7-iron.
Okay.
Then let's hit a shot with your 5-iron and see the difference in launch angle, how trapped or flighted that golf ball is. Then we'll use a different ball position.
Okay.
And then finally, we'll try and lead the handle a little bit longer. Okay? So
You're on.
I've got TrackMan running to tell us what this normal 7-iron is going to launch at.
Okay.
Great job. Nice strike.
Thanks.
You mentioned 160.
What do I get? What do I
looks like it's going to be about 155, possibly 160. Yeah, 161. I'm wrong. Launch angle 16 degrees. That's actually a nice lowish launch angle. So it looks like your experience playing across the pond, so to speak, has kind of bled into the entire game.
Bit.
You don't need to trap it now. So what do you think would happen if we go to a 5-iron? Let's check it out.
Let's find out.
Knowing that the problem I already described is the problem of distance. So let's hit a full 5-iron first. Let's see what it launches at.
Okay.
Nice job. Beautiful. So we had, if I read the data back, we had a launch angle with the 7-iron of 16 degrees and it traveled 161. We have a launch angle with the 5-iron at 13 degrees. There's a 3-degree difference. So the easiest path to flight it lower is defer down in iron. But then we have a distance issue, don't we? And the distance of that 5-iron was 180 yards, which is probably pretty close, maybe a little short of what's normal for you. And so then the learning becomes, how do I make it fly shorter, assuming it's not into the wind? But if it is into the wind at 20 miles an hour, that 180 is probably 160. It's probably the number that you want.
Yeah.
But let's go back to the 7-iron.
Okay.
And go to plan B.
Plan B.
Or option 2 is probably a better way to say it. And that option 2 is go and normal stance it. So address it like normal, normal ball position. Okay, and now shuffle your feet 2 inches to the left. I bring the arc with it, and now this should launch it lower than your initial launch angle of 16 degrees.
All right.
Yeah, beautiful.
That was cool.
Beautiful. We have 155 yards, launched at 13 degrees.
Hey!
Let's go to option 3, which is the handle adjacent or even feeling like it's outside your left leg. But let's not do 2 of those adjustments. Let's go back to normal ball position and see what we can achieve.
All right.
Now, is it normal or common? Yeah, it's common sometimes for people to use both ball position to affect attack angle and the sense that handle's leaving.
Handle's leading.
Handle's leaving.
All right, this scares me. This one feels like sometimes I get a pitch out on this one.
Okay.
Watch out right.
Little side play?
Yeah. Throwing to first base.
Can you just show me what it's going to feel like at impact or look like at impact with the handle adjacent to your outside of your left leg? Fantastic.
Like that?
Beautiful.
Okay.
Yeah, great job.
All right, that wasn't too bad.
That's a beautiful tight flighted draw, 7
Yeah.
iron. And then we have a launch angle of 13 degrees again.
Hey.
Yeah,
I
so
can
very
do
good.
it.
So you achieve the same launch angle when you move ball position back
Yep.
as if you moved handle. So if you
forward.
double down on both of those ingredients,
Yeah.
it would be lower again. It's really kind of a choose your own adventure, right?
Yeah.
You got options. In golf, there are always options. But running them back, it would be defer down in club. So loft for launch, then you got to adjust distance a little bit, assuming the wind's not going to create that difference in distance. Then you have ball position affecting launch, and then you have dynamic loft, meaning the amount the handle wins the race back to impact.
Love it.
Any questions?
No, I'm ready for Muirfield.
Awesome.
Let's go.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Good job.
All right, thanks.